Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is episode 14 in the Rye podcast with Curt Fletcher. My guest today is Sarah Kennedy, comedian and writer. Super cool, super funny. I'm excited to talk to her. She just moved back to Albuquerque from New York City. So, pretty excited to talk to her. Let's go talk to Sarah. Sarah Kennedy. All right. How are you? How's your day?
Oh, good so far. Lots of work. I
Cool.
have a yeah, I have a startup job that's remote, so it's like I work all day on one computer and then I get off and then I just come over and I start doing like goof off comedy stuff and whatever on another computer.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the startup that you're
It's
doing?
called Loop and they do like returns and exchanges for online stores.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What
How
about
long?
you? Oh, I started a little over a month ago, I think.
Okay.
It was nice. My friend Mike works there and I've worked with him a bunch, so it was
Very
like,
cool.
yeah.
I just spend most of my time trying to guess people's Zoom passwords just to barge in on random Zoom meetings. And so far I've been unsuccessful.
I had that happen to me one time on a show. We had
Oh, really?
somebody Zoom bombard us or whatever, and they started drawing like swastikas and stuff all over the
Oh,
screen. It was not good.
yeah.
If you ever guess the password, what are you going to do when you get in there?
Probably not that.
I wouldn't.
You know what? I haven't even thought of that yet. So maybe I should think that through first. I don't know.
You like get in there and everybody's like all eyes on you, and you're like,
Yeah. What's he gonna do? Hey guys,
share screen.
sorry I don't have any swastikas.
Fresh out. I just didn't bring any.
Have you been doing quite a few Zoom shows?
Off and on. I mean, not as many as I don't know. I would hope to be doing real shows, but like,
Oh yeah.
they a good amount. I think a good amount, and
Cool.
yeah, I've got a talk show that I'm starting on Thursday, so
Oh,
that'll
how
be.
cool.
It's like a comedy talk showy thing too, so that'll be a
Awesome.
nice regular thing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just did
but
my third Zoom show last night,
how'd it
and
go?
oh, it was so much fun. Yeah, all three that I've done have been super cool. One of them I did with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
I
loved
like it.
your video you did for that show. It's so funny, very creative.
I love to
Not
do a
not as
slideshow.
many swastikas as I thought, but
No.
super funny.
If I could disappoint anyone, it should be in lack of swastikas. Like that
Yeah,
should
yeah,
just
yeah.
always be the way that.
That's the thing. That's the only negative thing I've ever heard about you. Like Sarah's like super funny and nice and all that, but not very many swastikas.
Just no swastikas.
Yeah, but it's all right.
People like
Leave
take
them
their
all in
hats
New
and throw
York.
them down on the ground. Yeah.
I've seen people do that. Yeah, and then they
So
don't want to wear the hat because it's all filthy.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's why.
yeah, yeah,
uh, so okay, we did that one together.
yeah. The surly
You
wench.
had yeah, and then you had the one last night.
Yeah.
What was your other Zoom show like?
Um. Let's see. Okay, that was my first one I ever did. Was
Mhm.
I think it was back in August, and it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of it was a bunch of comics from LA. Like this guy who hosted American Idol was on there. Like he
Nice.
did like the first season, I think, with Ryan Seacrest
Oh, we're
and
talking
that
about that guy. What's his
Brian
name?
Dunkelman.
Dunkelman. That's the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God, he was super funny. But yeah, it was really cool. It was I got a standing ovation
Yeah.
from one of my friends.
He wasn't
That
wearing
was pretty
pants.
funny.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, the Zoom shows have been super fun. Like it throws off your timing a lot, for sure. But I think it works well with my style because I've got a lot of quick jokes, so I can reel off, 15 to 20 jokes in a 5-minute set, no problem.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about laughter.
So I found that every time I've done an online show, they're all different. Like there's not one that has like there'll be times where it's Zoom, but the audience is all in there with you. Then there's times where it's Zoom, but it's all on Twitch.
Uh-huh.
Then it's just Facebook Live sometimes or whatever. Like have you found like one that you're like, I like that one or
Yeah, so the first one I did
Mhm.
with all the comics from LA, that had the audience in there, so you could hear all the laughter.
I love that.
And the one I did last night was is for the Boulder comedy show ran by Brent Gill.
Mhm.
And so his thing, like I don't know how many people were in the audience. So he has like two or three people that he brings in from the audience into the Zoom meeting with all the comics. So you can hear, like, Dave Caldwell, of course,
Mm.
was in there. So you can hear Dave laugh. And then there's a couple other laughers. So I don't know how many people are actually watching the show, but you could hear the laughter from the other comics and then the designated crowd that he brought in also. And I
That's
like
nice.
that format was really nice too. And it was cool because he does it a little differently. He does his monologue at the beginning, and then he does like a news story, and kind of make fun of it, and then each comic will do their set, and then after their set, he kind of interviews them a little bit, kind of like a late night
Mhm.
type of style. So it was really cool, and then he had a musician at the end to close out the show. So
That's great.
yeah, but we weren't able to hear the musician, so that kind of sucks, but no, it's a really cool style that he had, and is unique, and I really enjoyed it. So that was pretty cool.
That's so interesting. I think it's so interesting that he's doing it online still. It feels like most of Colorado is fairly open. Like they're doing a lot of outdoor shows and stuff. Like,
Yeah. It seems like it. I actually did an indoor show with Brent a couple of weeks ago. We did a corporate gig at a country club,
oh wow.
and yeah, it was. They were not social distancing.
Did they
Uh,
give you a test? Did you get a free test?
no, no. I went in and I didn't interact with anybody except for, like, uh, talking to people in the crowd when I was performing, but I didn't talk to anyone afterwards. I had my mask on right after I finished performing, and I didn't even stick around to like chat with anybody afterwards because there's a good amount of people in there. Like
Yeah.
they weren't the tables weren't spaced out or anything. Like I've done some comedy clubs where they remove most of the tables, so they're pretty spaced out, and that wasn't the case at the country club.
Shh. Wow,
Yeah,
that's so interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen it like, I don't know, yacht parties and private island parties or whatever. Like rich people in general, from what I've been able to see, do not think that science affects them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if they think they could just like buy their way out of a virus. I don't know. Like, it's not gonna get me.
It
Uh,
I don't think that virus knows who my dad is, so I'll just tell him. It's no problem.
Have you met my dad? It's part of the country club.
The
Uh,
dad's like coughing in the corner and just
oh yeah. So yeah, that was it was a fun show, but yeah, it was a little scary, and I'm glad I didn't stick around afterwards. So, and I'm even nervous to like sell merchandise at a show,
Yeah.
like because I'm going to Tulsa next week and Little Rock the week after that, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna do merchandise or not.
Could you do something where it's like you wear a t-shirt with your Venmo on it and then you just t-shirt cannon it? Like, just right to you, man.
Oh, that's a
Thanks.
great idea. I could probably do that, and I'm sure they would love that in Tulsa. People love
Mhm.
guns,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
you know. So even if it's a T-shirt gun,
Mhm. Like, "You're holding it all wrong."
yeah. So yeah, that could be something I could try out. I wonder how much those gun cost. I'll have to
I'll
check
find out
it
right
out.
now. Yeah,
Okay,
no, ask me another question and I'll answer it, but I'm also
okay.
looking up t-shirt
Do you
gun.
have to have like a permit for that?
No, I think you can open carry that. That's your right.
Okay, cool.
Uh, a t-shirt launcher.
Like, do you have to tell like the cop, like if you get pulled over by a cop or something, be like, just to warn you, I've got a T-shirt gun in here.
Just got one on
I'm
me.
not gonna use it. My hands are up here.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like one of the ones that I've seen, like, at, like, the baseball park and stuff, those are,
Yeah.
like, $700, so you'd have to sell a lot of t-shirts to make that back.
Holy shits. How many shirts?
But
That's a lot of shirts, yeah.
well, how much do you sell your shirts for?
Uh, if I get that gun, $500.
$500, yep, it's 2 shirts, and then you'll make a profit.
I usually
Um,
sell them for 20 or 25
20
online, but
yeah,
yeah,
mhm,
that would be a lot.
yeah. You could do I don't know, I'm seeing a potato gun. I don't know if
Oh,
you
those
wanna
are
just
fun.
merch potatoes.
Yeah, I could do some potatoes with my website on
Um,
it.
some like water balloon slingshots. So if you could just
Okay,
ball it up with like some rubber bands, you might be able to do it that way.
I could do that. I wonder how
Um,
trusting the people in Tulsa or Little Rock would be if I just left T-shirts on the table
and then just
and
was
I was
like,
just like, just
guys, be cool.
put $20 there, take a shirt.
Yeah, there's gotta be just like or maybe like a bank tube that you could just like
Oh,
send
that'd
to
be
them
great.
outside. Just be
That would
like,
be super
thanks.
cool.
Put the 20 in the little thing, send it back to me. Send you your shirt.
Oh, that'd be a great way to rob the bank like during this time,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to interact with people. You just put like a note through the bank tube and be like, I want you to put all the money in this paper sack
Right in here.
and then send it right back.
I think Brett Hiker and Jordan made a short film like that.
Oh, really?
Jordan goes to rob a bank like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's
I'll have to check that out.
I think he even sends a gun like attached to a string through the thing so that he could like pull the trigger by pulling the string like that. It's so funny.
Oh, that's great. I'll have to look that
Um
up.
yeah, for sure. But that would be so funny. There's that website Teespring where like you can set
Hmm.
up a store. I wonder like if you could almost have like an iPad and just let people buy the merch that way and then it just all digitally
Oh yeah,
goes.
I have a store on my website. I wonder if I
Mhm.
could do something like that.
I so I do like customer service during my day job. So sometimes when I'm right off of work, I get into like, let's solve this problem. Let's figure this out. Let's go ahead
Hmm.
and that's why I'm like, then maybe you could try.
I love it. That's good. Maybe I'll do something like that.
Yeah.
So when did you start doing comedy, Sarah? Was it I want to say it was 2009ish.
Yeah. So I just had my 11th comedy versary in
Cool. Because
August.
I think you started like right after I moved away. Because I
hmm
moved to Denver like in June of 2009. And then yeah, so you started in August. Cool. And Matt Peterson kind of got you started?
Yeah, I met him at a party because
Oh,
I knew
how
his
cool.
girlfriend. Yeah, and I was so annoying. I'm sure that whole night because I just kept being like, I could do comedy, but like I didn't mean it for it to come out like that. Like, oh yeah, I could
Hmm.
do what you do, or like whatever. I was just like, I've
Yeah.
always wanted to do it, and then I even said something like, I've got all these jokes I could tell about how bad airline food is and the difference between black people and white people, and he just like looked at me, and I was like, no, I'm joke. That's not really gonna say that. Like he didn't like it and he didn't like it on a meta level either. So if I
Awesome.
was serious, he hated it. And if I was being meta and weird with him, he did not like it. But we talked enough during the night that he was like, you know what? You could perform at paparazzi.
Oh,
And
cool.
that was just like super, super nice. And I went and saw him first before I did it because I was like, I just wanted to know what it was like. I think I had seen you at Laughs
Hmm.
the same night that Lori Callahan was there one
Oh
time.
yeah. Hmm.
And, that was my only experience, and then knowing that Laughs was closed, I was like, "Well, that's it, I guess," except for, like, what Rusty does for, like, theater groups or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then, so then watching Matt at Paparazzi on a regular night when there was, like, some audience, but not really, and it was just, like, I thought, "Oh, man, I could do this. This is like telling jokes in the woods. I could get up and just kinda tell jokes, whatever." And then I was like, "Okay, 2 weeks from now, I'll do it. Like, put me in, coach." And then I, proceeded to tell every human being I had ever met that I was about to try comedy.
Hmm.
And so then on the night that I tried it, the place way busier than it had been, like, and so then I was like, "Oh, that" it was a lot more nerve-wracking, but
Oh, I
it
bet.
was
Yeah. Yeah. My first time I invited like 40 people and they all showed up. And I was like, shit, now I can't bail out. But I remember performing with Lori. That was cool because uh, she taught me not to swear as much
Oh, that's
because
nice.
I remember doing a guest spot with her and she's like, hey, guess how many times you said the F word in that 5 minute set? I was like, I don't know, once. She's like, nope, 7. I was like,
Oh!
oh, okay. I'm going to go back through my sets and make sure that doesn't happen again because none of it was necessary. And she told me that. And she's like, if you got a joke about swearing or something, then throw it in, but none of it was necessary. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
So I learned a
she
lot
was
from
cool about
Lori.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was a really cool lady.
Yeah. It actually helps Matt get started in comedy. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know that. Tell me that
Yeah,
story.
so I was working at Poppy's Pizza,
Mhm.
and Matt was also working at Poppy's Pizza, and I was about 2 years into comedy at the time, and, Matt was working there, and he was, like, a musician at the time,
Mhm.
and, he had mentioned something about wanting to do stand-up comedy, and I was like, "Hey, man, I perform at Laughs quite often, and, you know, you should come sign up." He's like, "Alright." So, he's like, "You got any advice?" I was like, "Nope, just be funny."
Just go up there and do
And he
it.
did it, and, yeah, it was cool, and,
That's awesome.
yeah, so, yeah, I've known Matt for God, that was probably 2003, so I've known him for quite a while.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, and that was when he still had long hair? Did he have long hair then?
I think he
Or
did,
did he grow
yeah.
it out? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty I think he did. So remember he, because that pizza place we worked at, my car died. I was making a delivery on the west side, and, uh, my car died, so I called Matt. I was like, "Hey, man, where you at?" 'Cause he was on a delivery too.
Mhm.
I was like, "My car just died. I got this pizza in the car." And, so he came and picked me up and drove me to the house, and, that was my last pizza delivery that I did for that place. And then
Mm,
I started working at Laughs like 2 days later. So,
that's awesome.
yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, yeah, it was cool when the club was around, because it helped me, learn how to write jokes for a comedy club audience, because
Yeah.
when I started out, like a lot of people, like they want to be a shock comic. And so that's kind of what I was. Like I just wanted to kind of shock people and stuff. And then, um, once I started doing more shows over there, I was like, all right, that shit's not gonna fly here.
Yeah. Yeah, that is one thing I regretted when I moved to New York was, like, we just made our own shows and we did whatever, and, I got to perform at Comedy Works sometimes and do some
Hmm.
stuff, but, like, I didn't have a home club, or I didn't understand, like, that idea of, like, hanging out
Hmm.
to show face or any of that, and so then I got to New York and I, like, had no clue. And then even performing at a bar show or a theater show or for a festival is so different than performing for a club that we're like, they
Oh
just
yeah.
have there's just different expectations, and I was not, like, even a little bit prepared for that, and
Hmm.
I wish I would have had some more time to do that or the
Yeah.
opportunity to do here.
Yeah, I got lucky, because I was working at Laughs, like I worked in the kitchen too.
Mhm.
So like there were times when the MC wouldn't show up. So they'd just come back to the kitchen and be like, "Hey, you're MCing this week." I'm like, "Sweet, double pay for me."
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, I think it was 2006 where I did 13 MC weeks at Laughs, which is like a
Yeah.
quarter of the year, which was like, that forced me to write all the time because, we get a lot of regulars coming in, and like I would notice like, okay, these people aren't laughing. That means they've seen me
They've seen it.
probably a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago. So I need to change some shit up.
Yeah.
I wish I was like that now, where I'm kind of picky about the jokes I write now. Like back then I was just like, oh, that might be funny. Let's
Yeah.
throw that in.
Try it out. Yeah.
But now I'm like, that's not funny. And I think probably the last 20 jokes I've written have been like that. It's like, yeah, that's not
No.
good enough. So that kind of sucks. But
Fair.
what was your experience like in New York? Did you love it out there, or
I did. I loved it
cool?
a lot. Yeah.
How long were you out there?
5 years
Oh
and a
wow.
little and some change. Yeah, it
Okay.
was cool. I got to do all kinds of cool stuff. I got to be on the Today Show
Oh
and
yeah. How was
did
that?
some
What was
stuff
that
for
like?
MTV. Well, it was my God. So it's like my credit, like
Yeah,
when
yeah.
people are like, what do you want me to say? And I'm like, just say I was on the Today Show. I was running a festival out there and it was our finals of like the entire thing. And these people who had been like competing for a week were gonna get to like win some money, and it was like packed. And the Today Show had been doing like a segment with one of their like anchors all day, like teaching her how to do comedy and like letting her try comedy. And she
Okay.
was supposed to be on a show in like the Red Room, but they had like no crowd. And so like for TV, it was like not gonna fly. And so then they came downstairs and they were like, can we just have her do it at the beginning? I was like, we have like a really tight out and like it's packed here for people who have like been following like a week's worth of
Yeah.
performance. And then they were like, please, and I was like, okay, but I'm gonna introduce her and then like get that. So then like the next morning, my mom got to see me on the Today Show, which was really
Oh, how
cool.
cool.
Yeah, so that was really neat. And then and then I mean, yeah, so then also running comedy festivals and being involved with all that stuff was like a really cool experience. And then getting to do more than one open mic a night was, like, so cool, like, just,
Oh,
like,
I
running
bet.
around and, like, having people that you just, like, ride on the train with and you talk shop and do all kind like, and they're, like, the best of the best, and then you're knowing people who are, like,
Mhm.
blowing up and, like, all that stuff is very exciting, but then you have to also, like, have a day job that's, like, murdering you because you have to work a
Mhm.
full-time job on top of having a full-time side gig on top of having, like, a side job that gets you extra and so, like, it was
Oh,
just kind of
yeah.
like, um, you know, I it was like it got to the point where me and Kelly were like, we're like, our wedding is gonna be in Albuquerque. Let's just go back to Albuquerque for the year. We'll do the wedding and then we'll come back to New York. I even like we both had it set with our jobs where we were like, we'll come right back to our jobs. Don't even worry about it. And then like 5 months into being here, a plague hit the entire globe. And so then it was like, oh, okay, I guess we're gonna be here for a little bit longer than we had planned.
Oh, wow.
Um, but it's okay. I
So
like
are
going
you
up there.
planning on staying in Albuquerque for a while then?
Well,
Or
it's
no?
hard. I mean, now New York is an anarchy jurisdiction, so I don't really know what to do about that. I mean, the nice thing about both of our jobs right now is they are fully remote. So if we want to, we could, if things get better, we could go wherever and we'd be fine. And comedy's changed in such a radical way now that we're still not entirely sure how it's going to look like once
Mhm.
everything is allowing for performance. So like that can also still be something that can be in a couple different places or whatever, but I love New York. So I'd like to go back to New York. I love Albuquerque. I always feel like I'm 50-50 about both places at all times. Like
Mhm.
when I'm in Albuquerque, I want to be in New York. When I'm in New York, I want to be in Albuquerque.
Mhm.
So I'll do both if I
Yeah.
can.
And most of your family's here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been nice.
That's cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I moved back
Hmm.
and be around
Yeah.
family and stuff, yeah.
So so your timing for moving back was also pretty darn good. Like you got here right after things started, or when did you really
I
kinda
moved here in July, like the first
July?
week of July.
Mhm,
Yeah. Yeah, I was in Denver for a little while, and then
mhm.
it's just too expensive there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild to me, like, I remember going up to Denver a decade ago and, like
Mhm.
or longer than that, and my friend would be there in art school, and she'd be living in, like is it called a Capitol Hill?
Yeah.
Kinda? Yeah, she had this, like, giant house with, like, 3 other girls,
Mhm.
and their rent was nothing,
Yeah.
and now I'm certain you can't even be within, like, the proper city limits and still get that kind of rent.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It's wild.
It is. They have such a great comedy scene there, though.
The
It's,
best comedy scene, ugh.
yeah. It's, yeah, when I first moved there, I was pretty intimidated, you know,
Mhm.
because we used to bring down a bunch of Denver comics to laughs, you know? So I knew, like, all the headliners from the comedy works, you know? And then just to see the people who I didn't know, like Ben Roy, I saw him
Mhm.
open for Troy Baxley one time,
Jeez.
and he just destroyed. I was like, "Holy shit, like, this is amazing."
Yeah.
And then, I mean, there's tons of people like that, you know, just, I'd go to Comedy Works all the time, and I was like, "Holy shit." It's like, I don't fit in here at all. It's like all these people are crushing it, but
Yeah,
it was,
that's cool though.
yeah, it was fun to be there though. There was, like when I was there in 2010, I think that's the year I did the most shows ever in my life. You know, I met some cool comics there, and like, you know, I started going on the road all the time, like, and there's so many gigs, and there's, you know, like this one guy I met up with, like if I had a headline gig, I'd bring him with the feature. If he had a headline gig, he'd bring me with the feature. So
It's the best arrangement. That's my favorite arrangement in all of comedy,
yeah,
which is just like, whatever no problem, and we're just gonna travel
yeah,
together. Like,
yep,
ugh, that's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah. It was a blast. It was always cool. Um, I was going to ask you, which comedy festival was it in New York?
Oh, well, I did a couple. So I was like on the founding committee for the Cinderblock Comedy Festival, which was the
Okay.
one where people could submit and their submission fee was based on whether they were like a marginalized group or not. That was pretty cool. We
That
got
is
death
cool.
threats for that. That was a little weird,
Really.
but other than that, I thought it was kind of cool. And
Any
then
swastikas?
no, because we were pretty good about who we picked to be in the festival, so that worked out really well. And then I was the co-director of the Laughing Devil comedy festivals for
Oh,
Steve
cool.
Hofstetter. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, it was cool. I did that for like 4 years. I think I started like
Wow.
I volunteered for the Laughing Devil my first like 2 months in. And then by September, I was helping him with the She Devil. And then I became like the regular person who was like his boots on the ground while he was out and about.
Cool.
Yeah, it was actually this T-shirt is I think a She Devil
All right
T-shirt
on.
that we designed.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Did you ever
got
do
lots of cool stuff.
Laughing Skull in Atlanta?
No, but I will tell you, knowing that you have done it and seeing your pictures from it, that's always been one that I've like aspired to do, and
Hmm.
like even just going there, like that'd be so cool.
Yeah, it was one of the funnest weeks I ever had in my life. And I mean, my show was on Wednesday. It was the first show of the week. I didn't advance, but uh, I mean, the guy who advanced for my night was Alex Hooper, who's now a good
Oh,
friend of mine,
mhm.
and we shared a hotel that week. So just super cool. It was just such a fun experience. Atlanta was super cool. The part of town we were in was really neat. Plus, Steve put you on a couple other shows that week. Plus,
Yeah, that seems to be the cool thing about doing any fest with him or any sort of work with him is like then
mhm.
if you're like in a town where he's got a club or a thing, you can just be like, "Hey, I was in that thing," and then he'll get you like a guest spot and things, which is
Yeah,
we Genevieve
yeah.
Mueller and I were in Indianapolis one time and we got to do guest sets at the
Oh, at the
Marty's.
comedy club,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Mortys.
Morty's, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah, Marty's is cool. I did a guest spot there one night. It was, I think we had more comics than audience
Mhm.
members
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
because it was like a Wednesday night in the winter time, and yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's hard to get people out when it's
yeah,
cold in Indianapolis.
it was a fun night though. It was a really good lineup that night too. Mike Merrifield, an old friend of mine, was headlining, so that was cool. And
That's
then Michael
awesome.
Malone stopped in and did a guest spot too. So he was performing. He was doing like a theater gig on Saturday night, so he was just there testing some stuff out. So
I love when that
that
stuff
was pretty
happens.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve runs a good festival though for sure. I was actually able to get on a Saturday night show because I lied about who I was. Because
That's the way to do it.
yeah, because one of the guys was in the finals. I was like, he's not going to show up, so I'll just pretend I'm him. You know.
Oh.
So it's like, yeah, I'm Ryan Dalton. That's me. I'll be performing tonight. And it was cool. It was like in this. It was a church that they turned into a theater,
Mhm.
and I guess they used to host like really cool shows. I want to say Saturday nights. What they would do is like all the headliners that were performing in Atlanta that week would go there and do like a midnight show. And then like sometimes like celebrities would even pop in, like Jay Leno popped in one night, like just it's just a super cool little venue, So that was cool to be a part of.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was trying here before COVID hit to start like a room, like a real comedy like space. It was gonna be in the old art bar right
Oh
across
yeah,
from the
yeah.
box. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, it was like barely even starting talks about it or whatever, but I
Yeah.
just so desperately wanted us to have like a late night Thursday show and then have it be like super drop-in friendly and then have it be like the people who are performing at Santa Ana could like come
Oh yeah.
by and then like all the like just have it and then if people were around shooting movies or whatever, like
Hmm.
hopefully the word would get around like this is the good time to come and it's when you're off set and like I just think that would work really well here in Albuquerque, and I
Oh,
think it could get,
absolutely.
like, the right kind of young people to be into it, and then you would just do a regular weekend's worth of shows, like,
Hmm.
1 night Friday, 2 nights Saturday,
Yeah,
or
I
whatever.
always get hit up by a lot of my friends who are comics that do Santa Ana on Thursdays. They're always like, "Is there anything going on in Albuquerque like after the show?" You know, and
Mhm.
yeah, that would be perfect for that.
It just seems like one of those things where it's like, we can get you, like, get you a stage time with a crowd that's super friendly,
Hmm.
and, like, hopefully, if I did things the right way or whatever, we could pay for their Ubers to and from, or we could pay them
Hmm.
also just a little bit of extra or whatever, and
Yeah.
then show them a good time. So, because I think it's really weird when you all you know about Albuquerque is Bernalillo.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to show them, you know,
Yeah, that would
downtown's
be
scary
nice.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always sad, like, because, my friends be like, "Is there anything on Friday or something in Albuquerque?" He's like, "No, not really."
No. Mhm.
Like, nothing that would be worth staying in town for, you know? It's
Mhm.
disappointing.
Yeah.
Like, nothing that's gonna pay you for your hotel for the night or whatever.
Yeah, definitely that. I'd be
Yeah.
like, "Well, if you've got a couch to sleep on, then, we'll take you out to dinner or something,"
Yeah.
but yeah, so that would be, like, my real thing. Like, I would really just like to do that kind of late night thing that's just, like, for the cool kids, and if you know it, then you know it,
Mhm,
and then, like, a weekend's worth of just, like, the same headliners and features
mhm,
with, like, local people opening, and then, like, if I could do it, I would wanna have, like, a fairly early evening open mic every
mhm,
weeknight so that everybody could come, get their jokes out, and then go to the open mics that are
mhm.
already established in part of town,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, that'd be great.
none of that exists anymore, so I don't
Oh,
know.
I know. It's
But
hard to say when it's gonna happen again.
yeah,
That sucks. It's
someday.
kinda like when I started out, there was only one open mic a month.
Oh, a month!
Yeah. Yep. First Sunday of the month at Laughs.
Well,
I mean, it was at a comedy club, which was nice, and it was always a solid audience,
Mhm.
because everyone would invite everyone because they're only doing one show a month.
A
So,
month, yeah.
like I got lucky because my friend's band was kind of starting out at the same time doing shows, and so they would let me perform while they're setting their stuff up. So,
That's such a great gauntlet to have to go through too to make you stronger and, like,
oh
able to
yeah,
kinda, like that's such a cool I'm so glad you got that opportunity, that's so cool.
yeah, it was great. And then they're still playing around town, which is cool. And I just had Jake on my podcast last week, so that was super cool. I just found out they're in a contest that they're doing for 94 Rock. They made the top 5 for that, like the COVID cage match is what it's called. So the winner gets cash, and they get to record like a song with this well-known producer from town. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm trying to figure out, like, how could we do that for comedy, and I do not know. I guess you'd have to, like, everybody would have to have a good tape, and then we take the
Yeah,
audio from it and play it for people or, like, on the radio too? Like
yeah. It'd be hard. Yeah, you'd have to have a clean tape,
Mhm. Yeah,
and then yeah, it'd be fun to do though.
it would be.
I wonder if they'd be interested in doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I bet.
I bet they
Hmm.
would.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, I don't have quite the platform as, like, a radio station would have, but, like, I could do it on the talk show too as just, like, a
Yeah.
segment that was like, "We're doing it. It's a Kate like, it's a
Hmm.
bracket tournament."
Oh
And,
yeah. That'd be fun. What's your talk show gonna be like? Like,
uh,
what's the format?
it's called Sarah Kennedy and Friends,
Cool.
which it's just me and my friends. I'm hoping to have you on, but it's gonna be I book 2 comics and a non-comic to be guests on it, and the comics get to do a set, and then we chit chat, so you get to do
Cool.
some panel, and then the not comedian is gonna come out and we'll do, like, a more extended interview,
Hmm.
and then in between, I have, like, pre-taped segments or bits that we're gonna do with the
Oh, okay.
guests, so I, this week I asked everybody who their favorite Bryan Cranston was, and I just got a
Oh,
whole bunch
okay.
of comedians to, like, Zoom with me basically and tell me who they liked, and then I edited it together, and then,
Oh, cool.
after this, I'm actually gonna talk with Mary Upchurch. I do you ever
Oh, cool.
work
I've
with her?
worked with
She's great.
Mary. Yeah,
Yeah, and
I did
she
a
just
I did a the Stir Crazy Comedy Club with her earlier this year.
yeah, she's great.
Hmm.
She, made a graphic that was, like, how to tell people how you like your wings, and
Yeah.
so we're gonna kinda go through her graphic and describe it and then just
Oh,
kinda have
cool.
it be like yeah, and then I got a submission from Buck D, which is this amazing sketch about, like it's like an album commercial that you see, like, late at night,
Hmm.
but it's all for songs about COVID. So, like, did a great job on that, and
Awesome.
yeah, so it's gonna be I don't know, I wanted to involve as many people as possible, so I'm trying to,
Hmm.
like, keep it, like, open and fairly, um, accessible,
Oh,
and it's
cool.
free, so,
That's awesome. Well, good luck
yeah.
with that. Um,
Thanks.
actually, I saw Bryan Cranston do stand up uh, at the Wool Warehouse when they're doing the after party.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah!
I don't know if you were there that night, but so he was the guest. Bryan Cranston was the guest, and I had to go down there to take some photos, like some promo photos. So I got to go and hang out backstage and stuff. And, I saw Brian backstage and everything. And so I was looking at the call sheet, and because I wanted to see who the comedian was for the episode, and it was Lester Panabaker. So I was just asking everyone, like, who is Lester Panabaker? Like, I know every single comedian in this town. I have no clue who Lester Panabaker is. And everyone's like, don't know, or they wouldn't tell me,
Yeah.
And then, so I go and sit in the crowd, and Steven introduces Lester Panabaker, and I knew right away that it was Brian because of what he was wearing backstage, but he had the nose and the fake glasses thing and the mustache on. And it's so funny because so many people had no clue that it was him. And
Really?
yeah.
He fooled him. He got him.
Yeah. It took him a minute or two to realize, like, oh, this shitty comedian is Bryan Cranston.
Is Lester Panabaker an anagram?
I don't know. It's a great name though.
Yeah.
For a horrible comedian. But it's so funny to see. Like, he actually did pretty decent. Like it wasn't terrible,
He was TV ready. That's good.
Yeah. Just what a great guy.
I've heard he's very, very nice in real life too.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, he was actually at one of my shows I did at Route 66 Casino, and God, I was so nervous. I was like, "Holy shit, Bryan Cranston's here!" And like every time I looked at him, he was laughing, and I was like, "Oh!" Like
nice.
High-fiving myself on the inside, I was like, Bryan Cranston thinks it's funny, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the more fun shows I've ever done. The funnest show I've ever done is probably when we worked with Jim Norton.
Yeah.
That was a fun night.
I bombed so bad, but
did you?
Yeah, real bad, real bad. But it's okay. I got a tape of it too, and I like paid a lot of money to get that tape made. And like every time I even think of it, I'm just like, oh God. But the experience in and around it was fine. And I probably should maybe care about bombing even more than I do, but I didn't. I mean, I left it being like, that was a cool experience. Happy to be here. Got to meet him.
Bombing's always a learning experience. Like, I didn't see your set because I was so nervous all day, and just like, I usually don't get nervous before I go on stage anymore. But that day, opening for Jim Norton, obviously, in front of all these people, like, it was the biggest crowd I've ever done.
Yeah.
And people were some of my friends were telling me, big crowd like that, like the laughter's different,
Yeah.
And I mean, you probably don't know because you bombed. But yeah, they told me that. So like in a venue like that, where the laughter starts like up front, and then it goes towards the back, and then it comes back at you. And I was like, how the hell do I prepare for that? So I told my first joke, and I waited, and I was like, I wonder if that's going to happen. So I told the first joke, and it did happen. It was like, holy shit. Like, so it does. It starts up at the bottom area, the lower tier, and then it goes up, and then it comes back at you, and you're like, holy shit, how weird is that? Like, I'm glad someone told me that, because that would have threw me off big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, had I not known that. And then so I just, I paused a little longer and waited, and it was a cool experience. And I'm sorry I didn't catch your set, but I mean, I'm kind of glad now. But I was just so nervous. I was just like after my set, I was nervous. I was like, fuck, man, I wonder if Jim was watching, But he was. He was like, he was the first person that greeted me, I think, when I got off stage. He was like, hey, that was awesome, man. I was like, cool, thanks.
That was awesome.
And then I just went and sat in the green room, and I was like pacing back and forth, and it's like, holy shit, that was cool. I'm gonna get
that energy.
Yeah. So
that's
yeah,
like,
that was
yeah. I mean, I was gonna say, I think so. Okay, that was also one of my biggest crowds, that by far.
Yeah.
But then you and I have also been in the other craziest show I've ever been part of, which was that holiday party that we did at the hotel, where that guy rushed you with a knife.
Oh yeah. Holy shit. That was so crazy, because I thought that guy was like goofing around. Like, I was kind of messing with him, like going back and forth, and I thought he was playing around, because like he was like way in the back, so I couldn't see him, and so I thought he was just playing along. So I was like, all right, cool, this guy's playing along, this is fun. And then he stands up and he starts walking towards me, and I was like, oh no, he's not playing around. And he was huge,
so tall. Yeah.
And I was
biggest fan
like,
I've ever seen.
like if I punch him, like nothing's gonna happen, you know? Like I'm gonna have to like do that. Like
If
there's
you
not
punch him, you're gonna have to deal with his blue ox. And
right.
like that's not
I could take down an ox, no problem, but I've done it before. I played Oregon Trail. Uh,
you just make him cross a river.
but
Get
yeah,
out
when
of
he
there.
pulled that knife out, I was just like, what the fuck do I do? You know?
That
And
was
like he
wild.
grabbed me too, which is like, because he grabbed my crotch and I was like, holy shit. So I just backed up and then he let go and I was like, fuck, what do I do now? You know?
And then you just kept telling jokes. That was the
And I was
part that I
like,
remember being like,
man, if I walk out right now, I'm not gonna get paid. But Sarah's not gonna get paid. So I was like,
it would have been.
fuck it. No one's gonna do anything, so I'm just gonna keep telling jokes.
Yeah, that was incredible. That really, I mean, seriously, like a life memory kind of story.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that comedy clubs usually have security guards.
Security. I know. I think about that a lot. I remember when I started being very nervous about hecklers or people who were like violent like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I got that book. It has like stories. It's like an interview with all famous comedians. And I like immediately opened up to the one about Ellen. And this should have been foreshadowing about what happened with Ellen. But like I was like, Ellen, whatever Ellen does is what I do. I get it already. I got it. And then so I go to the Ellen pages and they were like, what do you do if there's a heckler? And this is her process for dealing with a heckler. Number one, she warns them like, hey buddy, let's not do that here. Number two, she'll warn him again, and then she'll make eye contact with the security person. And then on the third time, she like makes that eye contact with the security person, like get him, and then the person just comes and takes care of it for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's great. We don't have a club. So who am I supposed to be making this eye contact with? Do you have any other sort
Eddie
of
Stevens.
advice for this? Yeah, Eddie Stevens. And he'll just come up and be like, oi, mate, come on, let's do it. And then just like, but he won't even do that. He would be like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know.
I know, it's scary. It's because I had a lady in Oklahoma City who tried to come up towards the stage. She was hammered. I don't even remember what she was heckling me, and I just said, hey, if you're here, who's guarding your meth lab? And holy shit, she got pissed.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And she started coming towards me, and the security guard grabbed her, and her friends after the show were like apologizing, like, and one of the guys was like, I think she really does have a meth lab.
Oh shoot.
I was like, yikes.
Yikes.
But yeah, I haven't gotten beaten up yet. So
yeah, me either.
19 years, I haven't gotten beat up. So.
That's a pretty good run.
That's not bad, huh?
I think you're due.
Chad Daniels told me this story one time. I'm gonna have him on my podcast, so I hope he tells the story, like, because I'm sure I'll mess it up. But he was doing a show. I don't remember where he was, but the whole front row, there's these 4 or 5 like huge dudes, and they're all brothers, and they're all police officers. And so he's like having a good time with them. They're all having a good time. And he said, like, their mom was there. He said something like her pussy was like a precinct or something. Like, it was super funny. But then this guy starts heckling, and so Chad starts talking shit back and forth to him. And then so the guy starts to run up towards the stage. Well, before he even made it halfway, those cops were on him, like had him zip tied and shit.
Like threw him out like a cartoon.
Yeah. But yeah, he had another story where he got a guy fired from his job because he was doing a corporate gig in Des Moines at the Funny Bone. And this guy was super drunk and just, being stupid. And so he got arrested that night. And then he found out, so he got out by the end of the week, and he found out where Chad was staying at the hotel, told the hotel that he worked for the Funny Bone, and that Chad had left something at the comedy club. So like, oh yeah, he's in room so-and-so.
That's
so
scary.
He gets a knock on the door, and he looks out the people, and it's that guy. And he's like, holy shit. And luckily, Chad was having a little party in his hotel room, and the security guards from the comedy club were there.
Yeah. So. Oh, that's a great story. Oh my God, that's a cool story.
Have you ever gotten beaten up? Older show or
No.
anything? No,
No, I've never been hit.
no.
I
That's
No, no, I think the worst that's
good.
ever happened I mean, all that happens is that people are just very not interested in what I have to say. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Okay,
yeah,
I can handle this. I can handle being, like, sneered at for 45 minutes, that's no problem." That
yeah.
guy I mean, that same guy that attacked you at the holiday party yelled something at me about Oprah, and I remember being like, "Who hates Oprah?" But lots of people don't like Oprah.
Yeah.
But, like, so, yeah, so that's the worst that's ever happened. I did see we had a bunch of tourists at this show I was doing in Midtown with John Fugelsang, and
Okay.
he wasn't in the room during the rest of the show, but everybody was just, like, trying what they could do, and then that family would just be like, "Rah," and then, like, they were kinda weird about me because I was talking about being engaged to a girl and all this stuff. They were clearly, like, tourists, like, not from New York and, like,
Yeah.
not into, like, New Yorkie culture. Um, and John Fugelsang, is, like, super political and,
Hmm.
like, just comes out the gate with it, and he started calling conservatives stupid and, like, all this kinda stuff, and that family just turned, like, went from being, like, quiet and seething to just, like, screaming at him, and then they all like, I almost watched John Fugelsang, like, get beat up, like, it was
Oh
crazy,
yeah.
and then, like but then they ended up just, like, getting kicked out, and, like, the little itty bitty bar server just had to be like, "You guys gotta go," and, like, kicking 'em out.
Man.
Um, but that was yeah, that's nothing cra and then that one time that I was at the Lions Lair mic and I wanna say it was, like, Aaron Urist was, like, making fun of some guy's girl, and the guy just came up to, like, punch him, and then every comedian in Denver just, like
Oh yeah.
like, just jumped in on it, and I was like, "Well, that's as close to a fight as I've ever been in."
Oh, the Lions Lair is nuts.
Mhm.
That is a cool place though.
Yeah, it's really
The
cool.
one I think it was my first time ever there. This was probably 2004 or five when Troy Baxley was hosting it,
Yeah.
and so this lady comes in, and I don't know what
It's
was
Nate
wrong with her.
Balding.
She what's that?
I think it was Nate
Nate
Balding that was on
Nate
stage.
Balding in
Yep, yep.
disguise.
Mhm. Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
So this lady comes in, and she's probably homeless. She's got a couple teeth, and she's asking people if it's karaoke.
Oh.
So uh, so she walks over to Troy, and she's like, "Yeah, I'd like to sing a song." And he's like, "Oh, this isn't karaoke." And I was like, "Dude, yes, it is."
Yes, it
I was
is.
like, "Dude, please let her sing a song." He's like, "Okay." I wish I remember what song she was singing, but it was hilarious because she only knew the chorus,
Mhm.
and she was not going to get off stage until someone told her to get off stage
Sure.
because she didn't know the light rule, you know?
Nope, nope, that's definitely a hard thing.
And so me and Troy are standing back there. He's like, "Dude, how long should I let this go on?" It's like, "As long as it can go on." It's like, "You're probably right." So she was up there probably a good 7 minutes before she realized, oh, the song's probably over. Oh, I wish I had a video camera for that. I probably had a flip phone at the time. So,
Yeah.
but man, that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Just a group of comedians just singing along with this lady.
Just like
And she was having the time of her life.
yeah.
And I wish she knew all the lyrics. It would have been funny if she just went up there like Andy Kaufman or something, just
Oh.
like fucking rocked it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty incredible.
That'd be a fun character to do. Just show up at an open mic looking like a homeless guy and then just rock it.
Yeah, just being like, "Oh, this is the people who come off the street and don't understand what an open mic is," and then all of a sudden you just, like, bring down the house.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that would be super funny. Um, hey Sarah, we already hit 45 minutes. I like to keep it kind of short.
Sure.
Where can people find you online?
Oh god, I get asked this every
I
time.
know,
I
I'm
have the
sorry.
worst no, no, it's good. I just have the worst Twitter handle of all time.
Uh,
So it's very nice that you asked this, and it's very nice that I get a chance to say it. It just whenever I get to say it, I'm like, "Oh god, you've got to change your name." It is, Sarah K, Sarahk,
mhm.
and then the rest of the word Amity. So it's Sarah Comedy, but with a K. Do you see how bad this is to talk
I
about?
like
Like,
it. I like it.
when you see it spelled out, you're like, "Oh, that's fine." But then when I have to say it on a podcast, it's like,
It's
"I'm
yeah,
so
yeah.
sorry."
But your
But
website
yeah.
is sarahkcomedy.com, right?
That's what makes it even worse. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. My website is sarahkcomedy.com. I'm about to redo it, so look out for that.
Cool.
Yeah, but that's it.
Awesome. I'll make sure to put the link on here so people can follow you. Good luck with your talk show. Looking forward to seeing that. It's gonna be every Thursday, you said?
Every other, like the second and fourth Thursday
Oh,
for
second
now.
and fourth Thursday.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. We'll be on the lookout for that. So
Yeah.
thanks
You're
so much,
amazing,
Sarah.
Curt.
You're
Yeah, thank you
awesome.
for having
I'm
me.
glad you're back in Albuquerque for now. So
Yeah, you
hopefully we'll
too.
be able to do some shows.
Yeah, definitely.
All
Coming
right.
soon.
Take
All
care,
right.
Sarah.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. That was episode 14 in the Right Podcast. Sarah Kennedy, she's awesome. Go check her out. I'm super excited to see the talk show that she does. Next week, I'm going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, October 14th through the 17th at the Looney Bin with Tim Gaither, a good friend of mine. The following week, I will be at the Looney Bin in Little Rock with Steve McGrew. Just wanted to say I got a new promo code for my website. If you want to order some merchandise and you listen to the podcast, my promo code on there for 10% off is In the Rye Podcast, and that's all capital, no spaces. So when you go to checkout, just type in the Rye Podcast. You'll get 10% off. If you want to donate to the podcast, you can do that. Send your donations on Venmo if you want at Funny Fletcher. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube or SoundCloud, whatever you listen to or watch it on. Also on Apple Podcasts, all that stuff too. Just want to say thanks to John Singleton from Anesthesia. He wrote the outro music for my podcast. He's a hell of a guitar player, great musician. So check out Anesthesia; they're badass. Also, thanks to Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup. He's actually working on my intro music for the podcast, so should be done soon. So thanks to those guys, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.